Welcome to the Grit Factor Podcast. I'm Drew Powell, and here we explore what it takes to succeed through the lens of guts, resilience, integrity, and tenacity. These are the values that drive high-performing leaders and shape the culture at the Insurance Group of America. Each episode will sit down with industry trailblazers, IGA team members, and inspiring professionals who have embraced grit to overcome challenges, seize opportunities, and create meaningful impact. Whether you're considering joining IGA or simply looking for the tools to take your career to the next level, you're in the right place. So buckle up. It's time to discover the Grit Factor. Well, let's just jump in. Let's start with some introductions. Parker, we'll start with you, man. Tell me a little bit about who you are, how long you've been at IGA, and what you get to do there.
Awesome, yeah. Parker Dalton. I have been at IGA since February 1st of 2025. So, what is that? A little over 5 months. The math's right.
Yeah. Do you still feel like a newbie, or you feel like you're like a veteran now after 5 months?
You know, I wouldn't quite call myself a veteran, but I feel like it's been a doozy of 5 months. We've been running and going, and I was talking to somebody yesterday about this. I by no means a veteran, and I feel like I have leveled up myself out of like the lowest level of amateur and have like stepped up one level above that. So, we're progressing along, but we are nowhere near a veteran level.
You've really changed your tune since before we hit record when you were talking about how awesome you are. I mean, this is
I mean, I
really
am
like
pretty awesome, but yeah, I mean, I like to act humble. So.
I was like, this is a totally different person than what I experienced 3 minutes ago. No, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for jumping on this morning. Bowie, let's send over to you, man. How long have you been around, and tell me a little bit about your role.
Yeah, so not too much longer than Parker. I started in December, and yeah, just immersed myself in commercial insurance and bonds for contractors. And it's been like Parker said, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been fun. And we're not rookie level, but we're going into second year status. So definitely not a
Yeah.
veteran yet, but got some grasp on our feet for sure.
Well, it seems like the way that the culture at IGA works is, the theme in a lot of these podcasts has been like the freedom to fail forward, just kind of like not throwing you in because there's a lot of training and there's a lot of that stuff, but it's also like we're not going to spend your first 3 years messing around. Like you're gonna get in there and you're gonna go for it, and let's rock and roll, And so, Jamie brags on you guys all the time, just on how you got in and how when the culture fit is right and when you get the right people in the right seats, how it can really, really work great. Zach,
Absolutely.
last but not least.
Yeah, so my name's Zach Bratton. I've been here, I guess, a little over a year now, almost a year and a half. I actually got started, unlike these guys, I got started as a sales intern when I was the summer going into my junior year of college at Mississippi State. Um, and yeah, so I went full time in January, and I've certainly developed quickly since then, and I've developed quickly since being an intern.
So you're the old head of the group.
No.
But no.
Doesn't work that way. Well, let me ask this, and Zach, we'll just stay with you and kind of go around here. But what was your perspective of the insurance industry like before you started, and how has it changed since?
Yeah, so good question. So when I was looking into IGA, I got started because my mom knew James Myers. I don't know if you know James, but my mom knew James Myers from church, and I was really just looking for a summer internship. Certainly not looking for a career path at all, but I had no clue it was really insurance. But she really wanted me to take this personality test that he was talking about. So he sent over the test, and I kind of looked up the company and looked into it, and I'm like, insurance, like that's not fun, I was kind of one of those guys that wanted to do something along the lines of like investment banking or something in high level finance.
Mhm.
And like, insurance, that's not fun. And, when I think about insurance, like before now, I thought a lot about like Jake from State Farm or Nationwide, or even like my buddies that did Northwestern Mutual life insurance, stuff like that. And nothing against all those industries, but it really is just a whole different ball game with when you're talking about commercial insurance, especially in a niche market like construction. And I think one of the main differences is the level of competition. So it's not just you're sitting in an office and your friends and you call your friends and family and get them to come in so you can quote their personal home and auto. It's you're actively running around whatever area you're in, trying to get in front of these construction company owners. And there's 4 or 5 other guys that have been doing this 20, 30, 40 years that are also really good at what you do, that have a lot of these accounts and are also actively chasing new accounts. So it's really an old man's game. So being kind of the young buck in that is a lot of fun, and being able to try to differentiate yourself, and differentiate IGA, represent IGA and our carriers and sureties in a market that's been pretty dominated by a certain group of different agents from different agencies for years and years and years.
Yeah. Yeah, well said, Parker. I saw you shaking your head during some of that. Is any of that resonate with you? Did you feel the same coming into the insurance industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a funny story actually. It's when I lived in Hawaii for 2 years, and I got a random call one day from a recruiter, and they were like, blah blah blah, like insurance, take this test, and I thought it was a scam, so I called the guy back to honestly mess with him, and then the guy is like, and then we ended up having like a great conversation, and I was actually flying back to move back to where I'm from, Kentucky, and it was like a week before, and then he's like, hey, just take this test, like there's this, salary, all this stuff, and I was like, whatever, I'll take a test and take the test. And then he's like, oh, Jamie, the owner really wants to meet you. I was like, the owner of the company wants to meet me off of a test, like, come on. And then long story short, I'm 24-hour flight, all these layovers, delays. I land in Lexington, Kentucky at 1 a.m. I meet Jamie at 7 a.m. the next day. I'm half asleep. And I walk into the meeting and we're talking about insurance. And I'm like, insurance? Oh my goodness. Like, I don't want to sell insurance. But I was like, I don't have any other job right now. I wanted to go into finance. That's what I love. And so I sit down with him and we start talking. And he's like, this is the greatest industry in the world. It's the best kept secret. And then he started to explain to me why. And I had a good buddy growing up that his dad is a big player in the insurance industry around Lexington. So I kind of got to see the lifestyle. I got to see the advantages of it. And then Jamie really broke it down for me. And I just wanted to make sure I wasn't selling life insurance to my friend's parents. Like, I didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to get into that space. And so when he really broke down for me kind of what Zach said of being able to really micro niche down into working specifically with contractors in the middle market that do public work, it just became way more interesting. And the level of competition and the camaraderie in the group and just the company in general, this is just an incredible company. So I'm excited to be in insurance, and I never thought I would say that.
Wow. That's all,
Yeah.
dude, that's a great story. What were you doing in Hawaii before this? Like do you
Yeah.
have a career at that point?
Great question. So I've lived in Kentucky. I went to college, University of Kentucky. I was working in real estate. I was doing some accounting on the side as well, but mostly just real estate. I moved to Hawaii honestly on a whim. Like, me and my wife moved to Hawaii, and I was a golf pro at a golf shop at a golf course in Hawaii, Turtle Bay.
Yeah.
Um,
What a hard
Golf course.
life.
Yeah, it was, it was terrible. Waking up, going to the beach, doing absolutely nothing. It was
Yeah.
horrible. But
Yeah.
yeah, I decided to get back to real life after my hiatus, and walked into a great situation. So
Man, that's super cool. Bowie, what about you, man? What are you over there thinking?
Yeah, so I got a little bit similar story, but drastically different. So I've known Jamie for, I don't know, a good while, because we have the same passion in walking horses, right? So he's big into that, and so is my family. So I had taken the test, and I was in wealth management and at an investment firm for a little while, and decided to go into a private equity backed healthcare company. Well, he called me and he said, "Hey, I'd love to get lunch with you. I know you took, that grit test a couple
Hmm.
years ago. Love to sit down and talk with you." So we met. I can't even some little sports bar and just kind of talked about what I was doing and everything like that, and told me about the opportunity at IGA and what all that entailed, and it all sounded great. But I told him, man, I really don't want to be in insurance. I don't enjoy it. Don't enjoy it. It's not very exciting, like Zach said, and didn't want to sell insurance to my family, like Parker said. And then I told him, I said, I'll just have to think about it. And then that's what started me and Jamie Joe, my IGA courtship. He had to check in with me for about every month. Hey, what are you thinking? You want to come? And I finally made the decision around November of 24. Yeah, I'm going to come on, and man, it's been great. I mean, it's not like any other insurance that you hear from guys selling Allstate or State Farm. I mean, we're we're
Hmm.
we're going in there with the bonds, and we're helping people grow businesses, and it's pretty remarkable.
Well, let's go there, and I love that. I love all of y'all's story with that because it's like the common theme is that this is not what you expected about the insurance industry, and I love that, and I also love Jamie's got an eye for talent. He's able to, and obviously he's a great salesperson himself, but when he sees something in somebody and he knows, hey, you're going to be successful at this. He's persistent. Like I'm not surprised, Bowie, that he just kept after you because he saw something in you, and it turns out he was right. I mean, look at where you are and what you're doing, but there is that hurdle of getting over so I say the stereotype or some of the misconceptions around insurance. So let's just go a layer deeper into that, Zach, as far as just like how is when you say it's different and it's not what you expected, and I don't want to just be selling life insurance to my family friends. Unpack that for me. What do you mean by that? How is it different? And
Yeah, so I mean, I don't, and first of all, I want to say that I don't have anything against the life insurance industry, and I don't have anything against a state farm or anything like that.
no,
And I know
no, not
state
at all.
farms,
Yeah.
but I think from my perception, I think the biggest difference is the actual value that we're really adding to these business owners, to their bottom line, essentially. With the bonds specifically, I mean, getting a contractor approved for a job, approved to bid on a job that nobody else could get him approved to bid on, and ultimately it's going to change the trajectory of this company is an incredible feeling. Or being able to save somebody 30, 40, 50% on something that's a huge overhead cost driver for their company. And so now they can sleep better at night knowing they have the coverage they need, and knowing that they're not absolutely getting waxed on it. So
Hmm.
I think just the real value that we can add, and then over time, and this is I think the best value proposition about it is that you become a strategic advisor and a strategic partner for these companies as they grow, and you share in their success. I mean, even just the other day, and obviously I don't have a huge book of business. None of us do, but a client that I picked up in November of last year has grown so quick, and they had just started when I picked them up on the bond side, and they didn't know how to get bonded, and they actually just hired an office manager and have about 8 or 9 guys working for them. And just, I mean, the kind of feeling that I got when my client called me and told me that they hired this office manager so I can communicate with her back and forth now about getting things over to me, and it's going to be a lot easier. Just the feeling I have kind of watching them grow and achieve the goals that they're going after is huge for me.
That's huge, man, because I think what I'm hearing you say is this is way more than just a transaction. There's like a relational component in this where you're winning together and you're also offering this is my take on it, so please correct me if I'm hearing this wrong, but you're offering this product and service that is actually at a deeper level, at even an emotional and even philosophical level, is helping these businesses grow and thrive and saving them money. So it's not like you're pitching or trying to sell something and convince them like, hey, trust me, this is great. Like you're actually can show on paper how this is going to save them money, make their world better, their life better. And I love how you said help them sleep at night. I mean, that's not just a flippant statement. I mean, you think about these business owners and leaders and the people you're working with, the peace of mind that you're really selling and offering is huge, right? I mean, that's awesome.
Yep, 100%. And one thing I didn't mention, even outside of insurance and bonds, which is what we do, obviously, being able to go to bat for our clients and connect them with the strategic partners they need that are going to eventually, ultimately help them out in every other aspect of their business, whether that's a construction CPA, or a contract CFO that can help them organize their QuickBooks in a way they understand, or a safety firm that's going to ultimately make our job a lot easier and save them a bunch of money on their insurance. Yeah, like I said, you really just become more of this advisory role, strategic partner in their company. And I would almost compare it more like when I first started getting a grasp on what it is that we do when I was interning, I was thinking to myself, like, I would almost compare it. I would almost say it's closer to being like a hotshot corporate lawyer or a high level consultant than it is to being Jake from State Farm. Again, nothing
Hmm.
against it. I like the commercials and all. It's just that wouldn't really be my cup of tea.
Right. Yeah, and I'm glad that you keep saying that because we're not. It's more just about differentiating who we are versus who we're not. It's not that it's a right or wrong. It's just that we're trying to dispel the perception of what this is, and that's so interesting that you compared it to almost like a corporate lawyer because I mean that does feel way different than Jake from State Farm. But Parker, I'm curious. So you mentioned lifestyle and seeing friends' lifestyle, and you know, and if I ask this question, it backfires, we can cut it out. But talk, let's let's talk about the hype around, and maybe that's the wrong word to use, but the real opportunity for financial growth here, right? So you guys have been in, you're around, under a year-ish, that we're all in like that kind of year on, that same sort of season.
Yeah.
Has it lived up to the hype in the interview process? Like, as what you've been told and promised or expected? And I'm not asking you to, show me your paycheck. I'm just saying, you know,
I'll pull it
we're,
up. I'm just kidding.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, it's funny because I actually had a phone call with somebody that was thinking about working here, and they had that like, "Do you really get paid?" I was like, "Yeah, I really get paid." But
Yeah.
no, I think it's a great question, and to backtrack, like, yeah, growing up, I grew up with a buddy who's his dad's a big player in the industry, and yeah, we played baseball together for a long time and all this stuff, and so I got to see how he lived his life, and I always thought, well, he probably has the most boring job in the world. Like I knew he sold insurance, and then now I know what he does, and I'm like, that's really not that boring. And so the financial side of it, it's a great vehicle because it's if you are interested in finance, like the idea of passive income, even though it's not really passive, it's just being able to build up a book of business and to benefit off of that for the long run and to be able to really partner with people. You're not making a single sale, you're really partnering with someone and going to be with them for the long haul. And there's a great financial gain for them and for us in that. Like Zach said, we're going to
Mhm.
help them grow their business in ways that no one else is going to help them. And at the same time, we're going to benefit from that as well. And so, yes, the financial side of it is been amazing so far. And I think the opportunity moving forward, it just expounds and builds. And like Warren Buffett said, the eighth greatest wonder of the world is compound interest, and this business really allows you to compound every all of your years of work on top of each other, and that is honestly what drew me in more than anything. I loved the company, I loved Jamie, I loved the opportunity, but the idea of being able to build something that will grow upon itself. The better we do our job, the better they do, the more money
Hmm.
that we'll both make. And so I
Hmm.
love that idea. And
Yeah.
yeah, it is real, by the way, if you're wondering. It
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
real.
So you're already early on starting to see some of that, some of that manifest.
Absolutely. For example, I had a phone call, I had a proposal 15 minutes before this, and I had a guy that obviously won't say anyone's name, but he wants to get to a certain level, and
Hmm.
he's not quite there yet. But I laid out exactly for him how we're going to get him to this level that he wants to be at. And with that being said, obviously, him getting to that level is going to benefit me. It's going to benefit him, his family, and everyone that he works with. And so that's just kind of how it works. And it's such a cool opportunity, for
Yeah.
sure.
Really, Jamie said this to me before, and a couple of you guys talked about wanting to go into finance or having a finance background or whatever. Why do you think that works so well? Again, like if you're like me and you hear the term sales, similar to insurance, sometimes that can be a turnoff for people because you're like, well, I don't want to be, no matter the industry, I don't want to be your stereotypical salesperson. Like, I just, and a couple of you guys mentioned finance, and I've heard Jamie say this before. Maybe I'm giving away a secret here. I don't know, but there's some connection with finding people who have an interest in finance and success in this role. There's a connection there somehow, some way.
Right.
Does that make sense to you? I mean, is there something in that?
No.
Because you mentioned having interest there. How does that translate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did the corporate finance deal before this. I was in corporate finance for a PE backed healthcare firm, and I think the big characteristic that you have to have is be very analytical, right?
Hmm.
So going through the numbers and being able to look at a person's financials and making the numbers come to life and saying, "Hey, this is where we need to get to be able to have this bond program or to be able to do this for your company." I think that's a key characteristic. Another characteristic coming out of college, I personally think is so when you're sitting there and you're in the admissions office, right, and you're fixing to pick, where you want to go. Um, some will go in there and they'll just pick, I want to be business management, or I want to be this, or I want to be this. But usually, the highest paid, business majors out of college is accounting and finance. And so if you look that up, right, I did. That's the reason why I studied finance. Is I didn't like accounting because I wasn't a very good accountant, right? But I still wanted to get a degree in something that, I can make a living off of. So I think there's a key characteristic in that about how people process that decision and then how it transitions over to building a book of business and being able to say, okay, if I follow this process and I do this, then I am able to just build a great career. And I
Hmm.
think that is that there's two characteristics there, but I think those are two that are good in finance.
Yeah. Yeah, really well said. That makes a lot of sense when you say it that way. I'm like, okay, well now I see why people who are like, I want to build a book of business, I want to make good money, I want to kind of be in this space, and I also want to be in a partnership type scenario. Um, I mean, y'all are selling me. I'm like, I'm about to close down my business and see if Jamie will hire me. I want to be.
Come
I want
on, let's go.
to,
Yeah.
no, he already told me. He already told me he wouldn't. I've already been down that road. He said, no, I'm not hiring you, Drew. So we're better off as buddies, I guess. It's awesome. Let's on that note, let's switch gears a little bit. And Zach, let's talk culture. A lot of this culture it does reflect Jamie and the leadership team. I've been at a couple, company parties. I know Jamie real well. Um, and again, I, I don't want to make the podcast is not about Jamie, whatever, but I do think that when it comes to culture, he helps drive a lot of that and he cares deeply about it, among others, right? Andrew and Amy, and you can go down the list of all the people who drive that. Allison, there's tons of people who do that. Um, but I've been at some of the parties and y'all know how to have fun. I mean, this is a fun team. This is it's a fun culture. But I'm curious from your standpoint. Um, this is something that obviously IGA values at a high level. But I think all of you guys are remote, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Does anybody live in Franklin out of the three of you guys, or anywhere in the Nashville area?
So I'm about I live South Murfreesboro, so I go into the office every now and then.
Every now and then you can make it in, but that's still what, 45 minutes to an hour away?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. And then where are you guys at? Parker, where are you located?
Lexington, Kentucky, about 4 hours away.
Okay.
I'm in
Okay.
Starkville, Mississippi.
Gotcha. So here we got, part of this team, mostly all remote, one, regional, kind of local. Um, you guys are crushing it, you're killing it. And how does that culture impact you guys being remote? And how would you describe the culture of IGA? And does that matter? Why does it matter?
Yeah, so I think I mean when you talk about culture, like you said, the podcast isn't about Jamie, but I think it's important to note that having that our culture really is driven by the fact that we have a leader, if he really wanted to, could sell IGA right now for 5 to 7 times its top line revenue and retire and never work another day in his life, and that's just the reality. But instead, he's literally doing the complete opposite and doubling down and investing just unspeakable amounts of time and energy and money into young guys like us that probably cause him more headaches than anything else in life.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
he's
that's
really
awesome.
just so fully invested in us and cares so much about our personal development and success. Um, and and as far as working remotely and how the culture kind of ties into that, it almost feels like I'm with these guys in person every day, just because it constantly feels like we're going to war with each other. We're competing against each other, and we're trying to grow this company together. So, I mean, I think what's really behind all of IGA's culture and the grit is everybody in the organization is 100% fully committed to moving this thing forward and taking it to the moon.
Hmm.
And it's not like some big, national brokerage where, the people in your home office and that's it. And the company's already huge and they're buying up other agencies. It very much has a feel of like a startup tech company, like the early days of Apple or
Hmm.
Google.
Wow, that's high praise. I mean, but I recognize that. I see that as well. And one quick story, even about this podcast. Jamie for a long time has been like, telling me you got to get you guys on the podcast because I've been like, Jamie, come back on the podcast and share because he's an interesting guy and I love hearing from him and all that stuff. And he's constantly pushing other people out. No, you got to talk to these guys. Like these are the guys you want to talk to. And one thing he said about even this podcast and starting it out is when I pitched him this idea of like, hey, let's have a podcast and let's set you up as a thought leader. One thing that he said, to your point, was I don't really have ego around building my personal brand, but I do care deeply about creating an environment for other people and helping them build whatever. So to your point, yeah. I mean, there's some days where I'm sure it'd be a lot easier for him just to cut and run. But the thing that he is passionate about is culture and creating a spot for people like you guys to really succeed and thrive and build a huge, future for yourselves. Parker, how would you describe the culture? How have you experienced it?
It's a great question. Culture at IGA is different than anything I've been a part of. It's a lot of things that I always really missed. I think you go back to like, I don't know if you played high school sports, but it's like there's just something about when you got, a bunch of guys that you feel like you're pushing through hard things with, and you got someone that's just kicking you in the butt, making
Hmm.
sure you're doing your stuff, all of that. And I hadn't really had that in a while. I love sports. I love doing it growing up. And then to join this team, I may sound like a corny sales guy, but I just feel like it's the greatest opportunity in the world. Like what we're doing and where we're at this time with this company, with the amount of investment in each other and the amount of investment that Jamie's put into us and the opportunity that we have in this specific niche, in this industry, and the level of education, all of this stuff. It's like if you can't level up to the level that is expected of you, then you kind of
Hmm.
just get out. And
Hmm.
that's just the blunt truth. It's not for everyone. Like you're either going to get up to this level or you're going to get out. And that's what I love. I think that was the challenge that drew me in was, well, if nobody else makes it, I'm going to make it, like that. And I
Mm,
think that grit factor is what Jamie's really looking for. The more I look into it, like hanging out with these two guys, is they have the same thing. Like if you're going to tell them they can't do it, they're going to do it. And I think
right,
that's just the culture. And
right.
back against the wall, we'll figure it out. And that's just the kind of guys that and gal that we work with.
Hmm.
That's just what we do, and I love that. I love the grittiness of the culture. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Bowie, anything you would add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have three things. So first, it starts with the top. Jamie's the type of CEO with the leadership mindset that, if he hires you, he's going to get down, in the mud with you, and he's going to make sure you succeed and give you every resource and opportunity to succeed. So
Hmm.
Mhm.
it starts at the top for sure. And then going into the type of culture that he's created and the leadership team has created is coming from a corporate background. Whether you are a analyst or a manager or a director, there is a hierarchy there. And right, there always will be, because you'll have a leadership team, but nobody, honestly, nobody at IGA feels like they're better than anybody. Like, whether you're the sales guy or you're account manager, they all work together to help you facilitate this account or to help solve a problem with this account. So that's one thing that I love, is it's just very cohesive, right? Everybody's working together on that, and I love that. And another thing about the sales team is some people get nervous about sales teams because it can be cutthroat at different places. Here, these two guys on here and everybody else that we have on the sales team, I want to see them sell more than me. Honest to goodness. But also, I'm competitive and I want to sell more than them. But when they have success, I want to applaud them on that. And then next thing I'm thinking about is how can I then go get another account or a bigger account. So it's uh, it's very, very healthy competition that is really good, because nobody's jealous of anybody. I want to see them
Right.
succeed just like I want to see myself succeed.
Yeah, I see you guys nodding and laughing. What's your view on what Bowie just said?
Yeah, I think it's important to note that if you don't have a sense of competitive drive and a sense of wanting to be the best, like if you haven't instilled that kind of mental frame where you want to be at the top of the leaderboard with whatever you're doing, then I think you'll end up struggling here. And that's the cool thing about IGA, and it almost sounds too good to be true when Boo's describing it, but it's 100% accurate that I see Bowie or Parker or whoever win an account and it gets announced. And by the way, every time you win an account, it gets announced on no matter how big it is, it gets announced on the whole company email. So like I'll see one of them win an account and I'm super excited and happy for them and proud of them. And at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, how do I go get a win so I can keep climbing up and not get left in the dust? And it's simultaneous. It's not a jealousy thing where you see somebody else win, you're like, oh man, I got to get back to it. It's more of a, this thing's growing, this company's going to the moon. Let's make sure
Hmm.
I'm a big part of that as well.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I would
there's
add to
not
that.
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say one little thing is like it when you see everybody else winning, it just makes you want to win too. And I think that's just kind of how it feels. Is like when Jamie hires the level of people that he's hiring, like these guys are gonna win. Like everyone he hires is gonna win. So if you aren't winning, you're gonna figure out real quick who is winning, and it's like you're gonna want to catch up, and you get to celebrate each other and be a part of that. It really is. It's healthy competition.
Yeah,
Well,
Nick
and what,
Saban talks about, and I think this, and Jamie loves quoting Nick Saban. I don't know if he's ever quoted this one to us, but uh, he talks about high performers love being around other high performers and hate being around underperformers. And underperformers, in the same respect, can't stand being around high performers all day and want to be with people that are at their same level. And so I think that's another thing that's really helped IGA's culture, along with the personality test that essentially weeds out people that don't belong here, not in a good or bad way, but weeds them out. and the onboarding kind of process that does the same thing, is we're at a certain level, I think, right now with the guys on the sales team, the guys and gal on the sales team, that we are all the kind of people that have a lot of grit and have a lot of competitive drive and want to win. And I think that also ultimately translates to IGA clients in the way that we're going to do whatever it takes and go to bat for them, as opposed to being lazy or sitting back and thinking about what's best for us.
Yeah, amazing. I think you guys really unpacked that very well. I mean, what I'm hearing and picking up from this is that there's just not a scarcity mindset around opportunity. Like it's part of what Jamie has pitched to you guys, which we are seeing come true, is you don't have to um, be afraid when someone closes a client, because it's not like, hey, there's one less for me. It's like, no, let me go out and get another one. There's plenty of opportunity here. And I love that. Everything you guys are describing is what a healthy, high performing culture has. I mean, it's exactly what makes IGA great, and other companies like it, is when there's a team that's high-fiving and celebrating each other and inspired to go out and kind of top that one, and then you just keep growing, and I absolutely love that. Now, we have been singing IGA's praises, and this is all real. Like, Jamie didn't call you guys and tell you to say all this stuff. This is real. This is the real deal.
No, we did
He
not.
would actually call you after this podcast and ream you out if you BS'd anything on here and say that's not how it is. Tell the truth.
He's
Um,
actually right here. He's staring me down, making sure.
Yeah, he's on
could
my
you
other
imagine?
screen.
Yeah, could you imagine if you like panned your camera over and Jamie just standing there with his arms folded, just looking down? That would be hilarious. No, not at all the kind of leader he is. But I am curious. This isn't an easy job. Like, we're not saying this is easy. This is a challenge. This is a hard job. This is challenging, right? And I hear y'all saying that. What are some of the hardest parts? What are some of the challenges that you've hit so far in your first year, as far as you're like, man, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to overcome that, or that was harder than what I thought, or what are some areas that have really challenged or maybe even frustrated you with this job? I don't know who wants to start. Bowie, let's start with you. We'll switch up the order a little bit.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is that you're jumping in, feet first into an industry that, to Zach's point earlier, most of the guys that you'll compete with are 50s, 60s, have been doing it a long time, right? And you're trying to knowledge catch up. You're trying to, get the meetings with people they have met with, people they have as current clients. So that can be challenging, just walking in with slick back hair and being a young guy, right? And then them to take you seriously. So I think that how we're able to succeed is with the training that we have and jumping in. So sometimes you feel like you're drinking through a fire hose, but it's all for you to accelerate your growth, right? And then another thing is, if you have a client who needs, so when Zach says, we go to the highest extreme to make sure we take care of our clients, we do that. I mean, there was one day that I had meetings on a day, and I had a client who had a bid the next day, and from me driving to Knoxville to Chattanooga, I probably drove 9 hours that day, honestly. But we do that because when we come in and we get a client, we make that commitment that, hey, we're a partner with you, and if you need that done, we're going to be there for you. And so,
Mm,
uh, not that that's challenging; it's very rewarding. But driving 9 hours sometimes can be a little tiring, for sure.
yeah, yeah. Should do whatever it takes. Parker, what about you, man? What's some of the challenges you've had so far?
It's a great question. I think initially getting started, some of the biggest hurdles were one, being further away was a challenge for me at the beginning because I we set these things called appointment days, right? And so I had to set my appointments up for Jamie or another member of the team to come up and go on these appointments with me. And it was a struggle for me because I had to line everything up on one day and try to get everyone aligned at the same time to meet and all this stuff. And I'm cold calling all these guys and I'm just getting in the industry. So I'm already nervous. And it's like, you really you are thrown into it. Yes, I had the training, but no matter how much training you have, you still have to do it. And doing it is scary sometimes. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, it was getting on the phone, talking with, sometimes some grumpy old contractors. We work with contractors. We're not working with, white collar lawyers or whatever. We're working with blue collar guys that will say what they mean and mean what they say. And so
Hmm.
I love that, and it's fun to work with them. But sometimes it can be intimidating. Sometimes it
Hmm.
can be a little upfront. And if you're a young sales kid on the phone, you can get tore apart real quick if you're not confident in what you do. And so, yeah, I've had phone calls that haven't gone well. I've had meetings that haven't gone well. I've had meeting days that I was just stressed out about. And that's all a part of the journey. And it was difficult. It was difficult being out here alone trying to make phone calls. And it is difficult still. Like now, I'm kind of past that hurdle. And to Bowie's point, it's like I think in 1 week I drove over 25 hours in 1 week, just
Hmm.
driving out to the middle of nowhere. One day I drove 12 hours. I drove to the top of
Wow.
Kentucky to the bottom of Kentucky in the same day. And it was a lot of driving, but I'm not going to drive out there for no reason. So there's opportunity, right? But it is a lot. And you got to do whatever it takes. And yeah, whether it's jumping on the phone or jumping in the car and driving a long way, not knowing what the outcome's going to be. Um, it's gritty for sure.
Hmm. Zach, I want to jump to you on this question, but I also want to just real quick follow up on something that you said, Parker, about I had calls that didn't go well, I had meetings that didn't go well. Tell me about the bounce back from that. How did that go? How was that conversation with, your direct reports and your company and your organization? Can you just follow up on just the aftermath of calls and meeting that doesn't go well?
Yeah. Um, it is you're always nervous to have that original, like that call, whether it's with Jamie or our sales team leader James. It's like you are nervous for it, but it's like they're very supportive, and they're also
Yeah.
not going to beat around the bush in the sense of, oh, it's like pat you on the back, it's okay, honey. It's like, no, like what, get it, they get very granular, like what exactly went wrong, what exactly is the issue, why do these meetings suck, like there's a reason, like are you not qualifying, like are you asking the right questions, like I've sat in the car awkwardly with Jamie before, and he's just, he's ripped into me before because I didn't do what I was supposed to do, and that's just part of it. And he's not afraid to tell you the God's honest truth. And if you're not going to do what you say you're going to do or what's expected of you, you will be notified of that. And that's not always easy to swallow, but it is. It's yeah, I mean that's the only way to get to the next level. You never wake up thinking, oh, I'm going to take today off. Like that's just not an option. So it is you definitely have to push yourself, and especially at this point in our career, we got a big hill to climb, and he's going to make sure we climb it.
I love how you said you will be notified of that.
Yes, you will. You don't get
That's
to
great.
slide things under the rug at IGA, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I will say, and Zach, you're up on this, and I'll just mention I've had conversations, even just friendship conversations with Jamie, and there's one thing about Jamie that I've never doubted was his desire for um for the best for me, right? Like I never even, and I've come to at this point in my life that my true friends and the people that I really trust the most are the ones that will actually tell me what needs to be said. They'll tell me the truth, even if it's tough, and knowing that, hey, we're going to land on the other side of this, And so if Jamie, even as a friend, calls me out on anything, I actually trust him more because I'm like, okay, this is a guy that's is not going to BS me on stuff. Like he's going to just he's going to tell me the truth, and he's also going to give me the shirt off his back to help me win, which I love. Like, and that's just the truth. That's who the guy is, and so yeah, Zach, I'm curious. Challenges, frustrations. Do you relate to what these guys are saying, or has it just been all smooth sailing for you since from the beginning?
No, it's been all smooth, man. No, it,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
so yeah, absolutely. Everything that y'all just said in that little segment is 1,000% true, and I couldn't agree more. Um, I think one thing that's not talked about a ton is that the IGA personality test and also just the IGA working here, the value proposition in general for a producer, it really it attracts people with a very entrepreneurial spirit. It attracts people that are very innovative, and I think these guys would agree with me. And innovative and deep down have a sense of I know what's best kind of mindset. And I think part of my biggest struggle and the hump I'm kind of getting over is having some humility and dropping my ego, having some humility and realizing that okay, this is a system that these guys have in place for a reason. This is what works. This is what my bosses are saying works after years of doing this and actively still doing it. Um, and this is what it takes to win and build a big book of business and be good in this industry. So I should listen to them, and even if it doesn't make total sense to me and I want to do it my own way, being able to, like I said, drop the ego and follow instructions and make adjustments is difficult for me personally. And then obviously, like they said, I mean, it's not easy to get up at 6 in the morning and start making cold calls to construction company owners. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
nobody's saying that's easy. And if that's something that like you hear and you think I could never do that, that's not me at all, then I probably wouldn't recommend coming here. And just full transparency. And if you're not willing to, if you've never been in a position like playing a high school sport or anything like that, and or willing to just adjust to this environment, if you're not willing to get strongly corrected for your own benefit, then it's not going to be for you. Because I mean, and this is one of the things that I love about IGA is it's full transparency. There's absolutely no beating around the bush kind of corporate manager feel where you're going to have a performance review every quarter, and one of these days if you're not performing well, nobody's ever going to tell you until the day that you could just get fired. It's like no,
Mhm.
if yeah, I mean, it's like you're never going to get fired here if you're constantly developing and improving, and you're here for a reason. And I mean, like I said, Jamie and James have invested so much in us and believe in us so much, and everybody on the sales team, to
Mhm.
the point where you have full confidence in their desire for your own personal gain.
Yeah.
I know it's long winded, but I'm
No.
saying they want the best for you, man. So
Yeah. Well said. No, and as you were talking, I just was thinking my favorite coach of all time was my high school basketball coach. And man, he ripped me a new, he was old school, Bobby Knight style, ripped me a new one. Just, I mean, golly, I could hear his voice now screaming my name. And I always went by Drew, and for whatever reason, he called me Andy. And I would never correct him. Like I was just like, oh, hey, you call me whatever you want, coach. And I would just hear him scream Andy across the court. But as I'm looking back, I'm like, that's the best coach I ever had. Like that was the coach that got the best out of me. He believed in me. He coached me hard because he saw something in me, you know. And I want to keep, I want Bowie, I want to keep going off of what Zach was just saying because, and this has been awesome, guys. Thanks for giving your time to this because this is really incredible. And I only have a couple more questions, and I know you guys probably got to get to work at some point. Um, but I have a couple more questions I want you guys just kind of go around and answer. And one is going to be I want to go off what Zach was saying. I want you to kind of scare off that person that would be listening or watching to this as to what is not going to be a good fit for this kind of position. And you guys have already kind of said it. And then I want to close with the question of I want you to give your recruiting pitch as to who would you want on your team with you and what kind of person is going to really thrive. So let's start with like Bowie, scare them off. Someone's listening or watching this or think, oh, I love this. I want to get in. I want to make a bunch of money and I want to work on a team like this. And I want to, give your pitch as to why this would not be a good fit for that person.
Well, I say first you got to be personable, right? Most people think they're personal, but you're walking into a guy who potentially has a multi-million dollar company, has been very successful, right? And you have to be able to one have the knowledge to speak his construction language and know about his business. But two, you have to have the self confidence that hey, I know what I'm talking about, and hey, I can have a conversation with it because a person sitting across from that table is just another person. And if you have issues meeting people or drawing up conversations, it's probably isn't for you, right? If you don't have the consistent drive to get better, like Zach said, and coach, this probably isn't for you. I mean, if you mess up, he talked about performance reviews, which I thought was funny, but your performance review could be daily if you continue to mess up, right? I mean, because they're going to review that with you until you get it right, and then once you get it right, you won't hear about it again. But they have a system, and if you'll humble yourself every day and you'll go by the system, man, you can be wildly successful. But if
Yeah.
you want to go do your own thing and think you're the best salesman ever, and hey, I can talk to anybody and won't humble yourself, then you won't be able to do that.
I think I say it every episode, but that was why Jamie wouldn't hire me. He was like, Drew, you won't listen to me and you're going to want to do your own thing. And I was like, I know exactly what works here. And the assessment I took basically told him that I wouldn't listen. And he was like, I don't need someone rebuilding my system. I know it works and you're not going to do it. So he's like, you probably be a great salesperson, but I'll never hire you. That's what he told me. So I think that's great. Parker, what about you? Why
Oh,
would
if I'm
you
gonna,
why would you convince someone to not work here?
yeah, I don't want to stroke Jimmy's ego too much, but I think of he had me read the book Relentless, and I always think
Mhm.
about this when I think of Michael Jordan, and I think of let's put Jamie in Michael Jordan's place for a second. Big difference, you know. But there's this line in the book that he had me read that really sticks with me, and it's like you're either going to get to my level or you're going to get out. And they used a little bit different language there, but we won't curse in the podcast. And so I think understanding that like there's a level that you're going to have to get to, and they are going to help you get to this place. But if you don't have what it takes to push through the dog days of summer, like when no one's watching you, no one's telling you to make calls, no one is there patting you on the back telling you good job. Like you have to really want this for yourself to a level to where you're going to do whatever it takes. You don't need Jamie to tell you, you don't need James to tell you, you don't need Bowie or Zach to give you a call and encourage you. You have to be able to do this, and it is hard and it's not easy, and you're either going to get to that level or it's not that anyone's better than anyone else. It's just kind of who how hard are you willing to push. And I think that's just a big part of the
Mhm.
culture at IGA and who
Mhm.
we attract. So yeah, if you don't like making cold calls at 6 a.m. or doing or you don't want to drive 9 hours in a day like Bowie said, then this may not be a fit for you. But if you want to, do whatever it takes for your future family or your family to give them the life that you want, and there's a clear avenue that IGA's laid out, then you fit great here.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. Zach, anything you would add to that?
Yeah, I'd like to really emphasize something that Parker just said, because I know we've spent some time on this podcast talking about the system we have in place and how we really do have a roadmap that leads to success. But something that Parker mentioned, it we do have a system. At the same time, nobody's gonna baby you, man. Like it. I mean, if you're somebody that needs a daily structure and you need to know exactly what you're supposed to do, you need somebody telling you exactly what you're supposed to do every day, and you know you have like a really routine schedule. If you need that, then this place is not for you as a producer at all. Just because you never know what's going to happen and things come up, and you have to be able to adjust, and you have to be able to do what it takes to win. Jamie talks about the book It Takes What It Takes.
Yeah.
Trevor, whatever his last name is.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
mean, and then again, that Relentless book, like Parker said, there you really know. I mean, once you get a grasp on this job and on what we're actually doing, you know what you have to do to be able to go out and win business. So it's really just a matter of, like Parker said, and like Bowie's talked about, just self determination and self motivation. And you don't, I mean, you not needing anybody to, drag you along because you want to get there for yourself or your family or whatever it is. I think if you're in a position like I am, where I'm still finishing up school, I think if you're really concerned about work life balance, and I want to tread lightly on this topic because it's something that I think is somewhat important, but if you really have this deep concern for work life balance as a young sales guy, then I would evaluate why that is, and
Hmm.
kind of what your real motives are for coming to this company, because it's not something that I even think about.
Hmm.
If you're concerned about only working a certain number of hours every week and how many hours you work this week, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons and you're not thinking about this the right way.
Well, I think that's a great statement of clarity because this isn't a 9 to 5 punch the clock, type role. This is a investment in your future and in your family's future. And the reason why I asked that question is it may not be for everybody. And I know that IGA cares deeply about you personally and your families and all that stuff. And so I know it's not like, just get in and work, 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 and we don't care about you as the person. But we also would be foolish to paint a picture that, especially in the beginning, in the early days, it's gonna require an investment. There's a commitment level there, and you're gonna get out of it what you put into it, by the way. It's not one of those companies where you're just gonna work and work and work and then you're not going to have anything to show for it. But all your managers, everyone else is getting rich, but you're just working on their behalf. This is a company where when you put into it, at least that's what I'm hearing you guys say, is that when you
Absolutely.
put yourself into it, you're going to get amazing benefit and reward. But if someone has got the personality where they just want to punch the clock and just kind of go in and do the 9 to 5 deal and just tell me what to do and I'll do it, probably not a great fit from what I'm hearing you say. And let's close with this, 'cause I think, man, we'll have to do this again because if you guys are up for it, because I'd love to talk more. I've got so many more questions around like training. Like, what was the training process like, and how did you guys get on board, and what was that first 90 days like, right? So maybe we can do this again and talk about that. I've got questions around the system because you guys are handed a bit of a system to work, and I'm curious about that. Like, what is that system? And I think it'd be helpful for people to hear it without giving all the inside baseball on it. But I don't want to give away what we do exactly. But I think knowing that there is a system that you're given that you can work, and if you work this system, it's going to be to your benefit. But so maybe we can schedule another time if you guys are open to it to talk through some of those things, because this is really really fun to talk with you guys. But I'm just curious if you're sitting across the table or on a Zoom call with someone who's thinking about coming to IGA. Um, Give me your pitch. What are you saying? And it might be a little redundant because I feel like after talking to you guys for almost an hour here, I've got a pretty good feel of what it would take to be a part of it. But I just want to hear it in your own words. And Bowie, we'll start with you and kind of go around the horn. But yeah, give your best sales pitch as to why IGA would be a great place to work.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's the inverse of what we said before, but we want,
Yep.
if you're self determined and you're independent and you're motivated, sky's the limit here, and you're going to get every resource and training possible to help you with that. And you're going to get not only just the leadership team, but your coworkers and everybody else on the sales team is going to help you. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten on the call with these two guys and said, "Hey, what about this meeting? What about this competitor? I ran across him." So when I say that we all try to make each other better, we really do.
Mm.
So I think it's a great place to work. And if you're excited and want to grow a future, no matter your background, whether you come from sales or you're like, man, I think what those guys say, I think that I could be that. Absolutely, we would love to meet you. And I'll
Yeah.
leave you with this little snippet if we have another podcast. But the training is better than a $2 billion healthcare company training, because I've been through it. So the training
Wow.
is that in depth and in the weeds, that it's better than a $2 billion privately owned healthcare company, in my opinion.
That's a great teaser for the next episode. So,
Yeah, you got me
because
right
now I'm even
now.
curious. I'm like, can you tell me more about that? So even if
Right.
it
That's
if
why
it
I
never
knew you
airs,
jumped in.
I need to talk to you guys about that. That's awesome.
I guess we're fully committed to this next episode now.
I guess we're in, right? Right? That's
We're going to
awesome.
end up booking a time by the end of this call.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. Parker, what about you, man?
Oh, IGA. It's we sell insurance in a different way than anyone else. It's the greatest opportunity for anyone that loves entrepreneurship, but just needs that little bit of structure, that little vehicle to put all of their skills, their talents, their abilities into this vehicle that someone else gives you the keys to and says, drive to wherever you want to drive, do whatever you want to do. You can go as far or as fast as you want to go. We'll help you along every step of the way because we've already gone to the place that you want to be. And we have people that are at the place, the next step and the next step and the next step, all the way up to your wildest dreams. People are already at that place in this company, and we'll
Mhm.
help you get there. And to be honest, it's just we work in insurance, but it's such a cool niche. I don't have to sell insurance to my mom's friends. Like I get to work with incredible people as a business partner, and I get to add massive amounts of value to watch companies grow into where they want to be as well, to be able to feed their families, their employees' families, and to live the lifestyle that way they want. We get to be a vital part of that, and that is so rewarding. It's so incredible. And let's just say we work at the greatest insurance company in the world. So why wouldn't you join?
That's awesome. I don't know, Zach. That's those two guys. That's going to be hard to beat those
Yeah.
pitches, man. I know that. I
I
know we have
mean,
a healthy competitive culture here, but I guess you got the last word.
yeah, well, I mean, it might be a little redundant, and I don't really have a 60-second
Yeah.
infomercial, but if you're somebody who feels like a misfit at the company you're at or the community you're in, you've always had this sense of I can do more, I can do better, and you have a real passion for helping people out and growth and adding value to somebody else who could really use it. Um, and you're a hard worker and you're willing to do what it takes and you're willing to learn and listen and hone in on your technical understanding of something that's not super fun to think about, like insurance or surety bonds, and you're willing to put the time in and the work in and have some delayed gratification, then the sky's the absolute limit in this career, literally. I mean,
Hmm.
so if you're, like I said, I mean, if you're somebody that's driven and motivated and has a deeper purpose beyond just wanting to make a quick buck here and there, then I'd
Yeah.
certainly encourage you to take the personality test.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, guys, thank you so much. I won't take any more of your time, but yeah, let's circle back on that next episode because there's definitely there's more to talk about here, and I can see not to flatter, but I can see why Jamie's so proud of you guys because you're killing it, you're crushing. I mean, it's awesome, and congratulations to all three of you for finding a career that is really gonna change your life. I mean, it really is, and that's awesome. I'm really happy for you guys. So until next time, thanks,
Yeah, for sure.
guys.
Thank you, Drew.
Well, thanks for joining us on the Grit Factor podcast. We hope you're leaving inspired, equipped, and ready to embrace the grit values in your own life and career. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who's ready to level up their leadership. And if you're interested in learning more about the culture and opportunities at the Insurance Group of America, visit us at iga.biz/careers. Remember, success isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about facing them with grit. Until next time, stay bold, stay resilient, and keep pursuing excellence.